everybody. Welcome to the After Church Tea Time for today, for the sermon from Fabian about change the world from within. And thank you everybody very much who contribute to the service today. It was beautiful, and I made some notes like from all of you and could go deeper already for myself with it. And I'm very much looking forward to what you like, guys, Daniel and Carmen and Manuela, like welcome here, what you received from the topic from today, and maybe you experienced it, how your world changed from within to the outside. Who wants to start?
I guess
Yeah, go ahead.
so when I was watching the sermon, I did there's something that I got reminded of during the sermon. Fabian mentioned that the teachings of union or the mirror exercise, like it doesn't require like belief in it because it's real and it works. So it's like you don't have to like believe that the mirror exercise works for it to work. You just have to complete the mirror exercise and it's gonna do what it has to do. So that also reminded me of I believe someone posted recently in the forum, I believe it was Chrissy, she posted like if you can't trust yourself, you can trust the work. Like you can trust the mirror exercise to push you through whatever it is. So that's what I felt called to share. Yeah, like the spiritual work, like it's true and it works. So all you have to do is do the thing and then trust that the process is going to work for you. So yeah.
I like that. I feel for me, I was also reminded during the sermon, like now with the new year, people start to and make these new habits saying like, hey, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to go to the gym, and you see all the gyms going full with people because they're all like so committed. And during the sermon, I was like, yeah, true. It's like very important to commit to healthy habits that you can sustain and that this work is something sustainable because once you've tried your first successful mirror exercise, I believe we all may remember that moment where it was like, wow, it really helped me feel good, right? And then you basically, once you've tried that for yourself, you can't stop that or you don't want to stop that because that would really prevent you from feeling good all the time. And yeah, I feel it just shows once more how grounded the teachings are and how important it is to keep on going and keep believing and just keep healing and, create stable habits from that space and not from a feeling of getting high because else is following a trend, but it's not coming from an inner motivation to really change and to really, yeah, make progress in your life, like from within first, right? Because taking this gym example, for example, now for the new year, is something that you want to fix on the outside, right? You think this will fix all your problems or this will make you feel better. And for some time it will, but you can see it's like a trend. I've seen this so many years, and I once worked in a gym that the latest after 3 weeks, people really start to fall off. And the latest after 3 months, everyone who joined on a high, basically like 90% of them, they don't come anymore and pay like for a 2 year subscription. And then I'm like, wow, this is actually so sad. But yeah, this is why I'm feeling so grateful that we change here first from the inner. And sometimes it seems like, maybe the outer progress takes a little bit of time, but, the inner progress is more important. And from that space, from that healing, we act upon this choice of healing and feeling good. And things can truly change sustainably. And yeah, that's what I got. You have something too?
Um, yeah, I think everyone wants like their lives to be good, to feel good. And we are all, until we know this work, used to look for things outside ourselves or look for solutions outside ourselves to fix something, right? And every time you do the mirror exercises, every like a new opportunity to learn that you can always go within, that you are always with yourself, and you can always give yourself that love and understanding that you're looking for outside and outside. And that's something that really got me when Fabian talked about like the power of choice, right? For me, every time everyone does the mirror exercise, is their choice to heal, their choice to improve, to move things forward. And sometimes you just need to understand that you're already doing the work to get better at it. Sometimes takes more time, even though it's not like based on time, but you get me, like you need to do it more constantly in order for things to change, because you are just mastering this new relationship with yourself when you are that doesn't depend and rely on things outside yourself, but within yourself. And as you develop this relationship, you will master, I feel, your life, because now you understand that you have all the power outside and inside in your life. And yeah, like it's a beautiful way to create the loving life you always dreamed of. And that, for me, it's a relief that you don't need to go outside, that you can go within and start doing it. And at some point, it will be reflected back. But you don't need to worry about that, because you can always love yourself in the moment.
Wow, beautiful, everyone. Like, thank you for sharing your insights there. And I feel it's, well, I think I think Carmel also mentioned it in the intro. We desired as a child to heal the world, to change the world, and didn't know basically how to do it. And when also Daniel said about, yeah, looking for the outside, right? What I was doing, for example, I was looking on the outside for relationships. And so as a child, I desired always a deep, loving relationship with the people around me. And it was just not really possible that they were meeting me like where I was. And so I felt I have to change. I'm not okay like I am, and kind of this people pleasing. And so my coach also helped me to see that I made the same choices than them to have a relationship with them. It was kind of an eye-opening for me, like what I did, so that I could relate. For example, people around me were denying reality, right? When I was honest or pointing something out, they said, oh, it's not true, or that never happened. And so I was living in fantasy land with them too, in a way. And so kind of now pulling myself out of that to also manifest heaven on earth. And I feel there's so much collective healing we are doing. And with this profound work, like by the teachings of union, that we may even not understand what an impact that will have like on the planet. And maybe you all heard about this 100 monkey experiment, like from the 50s, right, where there were monkeys on an island and they were not washing their sweet potatoes, they were dirty with sand, and they were eating them with the sand. And at some point, like a little monkey was doing it with water, and so they washed their food suddenly. And then kind of when they set the point of 100 monkeys were doing that too, kind of like copied that behavior at the other side of the world, suddenly they started to do the same. And so to see what kind of an impact your choices have, right? Or that you don't even have to be in touch with other people, how we can heal collective consciousness. And that's kind of, yeah, what feels so juicy in my heart. And so we can only just heal it within ourselves, for example, from the war outside, what is going on. So when it came up, like with Putin and with the Ukraine, like the war, I kind of was looking what is going on inside of me that is similar. And it was like this violating my boundaries, right? Somebody comes in, smashing from my boundaries and trying to abuse me or take from me. And so that was something then at this time where I was going deeper into my healing. So everybody can do kind of their part, right? In the macrocosmos, kind of what is going on inside of me, or what is this bringing up. And by healing that, everything will change based on our choices in healing with the mirror exercise. And so, yeah, that's kind of like how I love the impact like of the teachings of union on the world from doing it myself.
Yeah, thank you. We actually rewatched the Pilgrim's Progress And they shared in that one too, right? That Christian first was very concerned to leave his family behind. And then it has been shared with him like, yeah, just focus on yourself and follow your own heart. And eventually this will help other people show the way too. And they may have it even easier, right? Because someone paved the path before you. And this is why it's so much easier for other unions to also come into union, I feel, because people from TIFAS and in general, Jeff and Shaleia have paved that path before us, and before them were so many other masters who also helped, right, ground this and help us bring the twin flame path to all humanity. And yeah, this movie just showed that again, right? You don't have to focus on thinking of you have to help others and you have to I mean, we are here to help other people, but it's in their choice to accept that, and you help them best by really healing yourself. And I see that in our union. Every time I think, hey, I want to help Daniel here. He seems not feeling really good. I can, of course, offer my support, but sometimes, we need to have our own process, move through our own feelings and not be immediately like, hey, what's step one here, right? It's really something we learned since the beginning. And then I just learned to be like, hey, okay, God, what's in here for me? How can I help him? How can I help myself? And how can I bring this forward? And most of the times, God is just like, yeah, how you feel about that right now? And I'm like, okay, there is something for me too. Sometimes it's just grounding deeper into my peace and really holding that peace. So He has, my support in moving through that. And it has a big impact. Every time I feel like there is something, and we are not clear on that, I'm really just choosing to heal myself and trust, like, well, we are one. He's eventually going to follow. It happens all the time. It makes it much easier on him as well, right? Even if I think it's not my thing, even if I think in the beginning I'm feeling like I'm genuinely peaceful, I can always feel when there's resistance, like there must be something within me too. And, that is like applicable for the both of us. It happens all the time and it is really beautiful. And you can see that it happens and helps other people too when you are just in peace. And yeah, I guess that is what I wanted to share. You want to? No? Okay.
That was really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So, something that resonated for me in the sermon was when Fabian talked about how he went to dinner with like a twin flame couple in union and like the peace that he experienced there. And then right after he went with his colleagues, like people that weren't in the community, and then like he could experience a contrast, like complete contrast. And that resonated for me because I had a bit of a similar experience, um, just like, because I live in Traverse City and I'm surrounded by like unionists, like basically all the time. And then I went back home to my family, which obviously I love my family, but they're not spiritual, dedicated students. So they don't maintain like a healthy emotional well-being or whatever. So I felt the contrast immediately, especially after like getting back here. I was like, wow, this feels way different being here. But of course, because I didn't have good boundaries and stuff, I felt like emotionally like taken from. And it's not like people, I don't think they consciously do it. It's like unconsciously because, you know, yeah. So they try to like latch onto your emotional vibration or whatever. And then, yeah, like, well, I guess the point that I'm getting to is what I'm learning is that it's important to have like boundaries with the society or the world because society will like make you believe that it's normal to like be like chronically stressed out all the time or to be like fatigued or like, be with soulmates and whatever, all that stuff that, we like deprogrammed as we continued this teaching. So for me, the lesson was definitely like emotional boundaries because if not, you're going to kind of latch onto that and then you're gonna have like an emotional breakdown. And that happened to me. I was like at the airport, like coming back, and I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? And it just like obviously like it will affect like your union and all that stuff. So now like looking back at it, I'm like, wow, like I was just having like an emotional meltdown because of spending like a week with yeah, with my family, which obviously I love, but they're just not doing the spiritual work that I'm doing. So I was kind of taken from without really yeah, knowing, I guess. But yeah, so I guess the point I'm making there is that, yeah, society versus this community is like a very big difference. So it just requires boundaries to navigate in the world these days. So yeah.
It's such an important topic. Yeah, Manuela, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think we all kind of like feel the contrast. And I also was working like the whole year, like at the company. And of course, there are nice people, but boundaries are so important. Otherwise, kind of like you want to have a relationship with them, but that's kind of what I was watching this week. It was kind of funny, like a CIA agent was speaking about boundaries. And so he was kind of explaining there are three levels, like kind of the service level, then the private level where you allow people closer to you, and then the secret level, like you're really like close space, like with people. And that like how he's vetting people basically is like giving a lot of time and space. And that's kind of what Jeff and Shia are also saying, right? The others have to build the trust. And I was already like always very open or with others, or kind of just wanted to have a good time, right? Like to enjoy life on planet Earth with others, and didn't have kind of this proper boundaries. And as a child, often we getting taught like how to have a boundary, that we have the right to have them. And but how emotionally, especially, I also felt a roller coaster, and this inner conflict, especially like what is the right thing to do, how to relate to them. I kind of struggled how to relate with others. And so my coach is also like helping me with learning that, and especially through like honesty, but of course allowing myself to be myself, but also not to share everything, right? Like this oversharing, or to really know my boundaries and not to leak my energy there, because it's built on sand, right? It's the same like with something in the world which is not based on love, or with God. It's like a house of cards that will crumble. And so it's kind of in relationships, unfortunately, often the same, that if they are not loving themselves or not choosing to love themselves, you cannot really meet in the same space. And so to learn that we love them by having these boundaries, and that it's very loving, kind of to invite them basically, like, come over here, right? Let go of the shit of the world. Like the quote that Fabian shared was perfect, like from A Course in Miracles, was very deep. Maybe I will also go back to that later, like listen to them again, like what page that was. Like the world offers you everything, but it leads to death, and really to acknowledge that it's really real, a real experience, right? It can seem so juicy, and we tried everything kind of basically, and yeah, it's just like manifesting your heaven on earth, inviting others to the party, like Jeff often says, right? And everybody can choose to come to the party or not, but that we have a good time, and that we can choose that. Yeah, to leave hell basically behind.
I felt called to share like a quote that I feel like resonates with what you were talking about. Um, and it's basically, it says, love will cost you dearly, it will pierce your heart, but in the end, love will save the world. Mother Mary. I felt like that was really impactful. Just because like sometimes when you place boundaries or whatever, it's gonna feel like for instance, like for me, like when I moved, my family was like, "Oh my God, like what are you doing?" But I knew like that was where my heart was leading me to, and like that's what God was telling me to do, so like I had to do it. But in their experience, they're like, "Wow, you're leaving us, you're abandoning us, like we're your family," and then like all that stuff. And like that's just me. Like I had to place boundaries with that. And I know like my decision was like from compassion because I'm helping other like my family line heal as well. But like for them, it feels like painful and they're hurting, they miss me, all that stuff. But sometimes compassion can feel like it kind of like pierces your heart because um yeah, like, it can feel like piercing to your heart because you know that those people feel that way, but then you have those boundaries and know like, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm not hurting anyone, so I have to maintain firm in my choice and continue just listening to God's voice. So I felt called to share that. Maybe that resonated with someone.
Yeah, I feel I resonated again with this power of choice, and also like boundaries is, like choosing to keep your peace safe, like what you have built safe, because something that we have experienced when going out is that we are peaceful, but then people who are not are very close to us, and in some way, like people know that you have worked for this, but they don't want to, and they want to take that from you. And that's why you also need to choose to have these boundaries so you can so you're not depleted of the energy you have built, right? Because it takes like energy effort to build this peace, build this love, build this life too. And so yeah, we all have power to choose what we want and what we don't want. And we have learned that sometimes when these people who are not in peace get close to us, it's like, hey, well, maybe somewhere within us, we are not choosing to have these boundaries. We are not choosing to honor what we have. And we are allowing this to happen, right? But you can always make a new, different choice to keep things clean the way you want them to be. So it's not so exhausting.
Yeah, it was really hard for us to go out, and still sometimes is, when we know it's a crowded place, but we have to do things and have to live a normal human life and not only be in our home. And so I used to get really aggressive outside because I felt like this is my way of protecting my boundaries. I just thought I'm a bitch and, I'm hating everyone. But then I was like, well, it's brought to my awareness that this is the only way I know how to protect my boundaries, to be a little like, you know, and I feel there is a more peaceful way, but at the same time, just like a learning thing. And I'm feeling more eager going outside and also protecting my peace and not giving other people too much power. Like, oh, I hope she's not coming too close to me. Or, oh, I hope this baby is not crying too loud because it's really overstimulating for me. All this type of things, right? I mean, there are physical things that can help us protect us from this, like headphones with ANC and stuff like this, wearing caps and all of that. And it does help, but it's also coming from within first. And yeah, never going outside when you already feel emotionally depleted. Like these things, like how important it is to take care of your inner well first before you do things that you know is maybe going to be a little more, like, I'd say challenging. And at the same time, something I'm realizing is I never thought like placing an inner boundary, just making the choices like powerful enough to keep all these people away from me, from my peace. But it's really just a choice, and believing in that is powerful and that is all that it takes. And even calling on, for support and protection around your aura is something really crucial and important. And it does really help. And it amazes me every time how powerful that can be. Yeah.
And at the end is, like this creating from within. Our first weeks together were not so good with these people. They were even like very stinky people close to us. Like they were chasing us, and we were like, what's going on here? Everywhere we go, there's like a person that stinks so bad. But now when we go out, we don't have that problem anymore. And it's like not so full anymore. Like even if there's people, they are not close to us that much, or they are not paying attention to us. So it's just, a matter of, healing it and choosing it until it's like aligned with you. I think yesterday we went to the mall and there were like 4 people in there, and before going to the mall, I was like, I claim this safe, peaceful place for us to just do our groceries and feel good. And then I realized, like, oh, it happened, like the mall is almost empty and we had all the space to move. Usually it's very crowded and we feel like, So it's, like creating within can be easy to like, can be just choosing it and claiming it and then just letting it happen for you.
And one thing I just wanted to add to boundaries is when you were sharing, it came up for me. I think the mistake that I was making with boundaries and even intrusive thoughts is that it's not only enough to say no to it. You also have to bring in that space what you want, right? So whenever we were outside, I was placing that boundary within. I was like, no, I choose to set a boundary here, like putting a no, but I was still, attaching to other people and focusing on them. Hopefully, like they don't come too close or whatever, right? As I shared. But then, like I was guided to focus my attention on what I want and my inner peace. And this is really what helped me also with intrusive thoughts, right? You not only say no to that, but you also have to imagine, envision, and say yes to what you want instead. And that's like a crucial piece I sometimes tend to forget, and then, leads to not good experiences. But yeah, I think that's like what you shared with the homeless people, basically, that we kind of like attracted all the time. We were like, what the heck is happening here? But now I'm not like scared of them anymore. I'm feeling like I have to protect myself, but really like, hey, I choose to stay in our peace bubble, and that's it. I'm protected in that. And from there, people kind of like bounce off, and it's not feeling exhausting anymore. And that's really, really great.
Yeah, it's a practice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's always good, like through parables, right? Through stories or experiences that kind of like everybody can so much relate to that, and especially when you're already applying the teachings of union. And so how it really impacts your life, and that you can see the contrast to before, or what is changing. And I just remembered when you were sharing about Mexico and my healing around feeling safe, right? And I was not aware before, like, and people kind of warned me, yeah, Mexico's not safe, right? Or something like that. You have to be aware. And then when we were there and like claiming the Airbnb, and we came in there was like the security check, right? Like with this barrier. And I could go running in the morning, don't have to worry about anything, like when it was half dark outside. And it was like a completely safe experience, right, in Mexico. So you really create your reality, is what I want to say, right? To really trust that your choices have power, and that you have God through so many people around you, especially when I was moving kind of 3 times in 1 year, like letting go of my old town. I could feel Mother, Father, God through so many strange people I never saw before, and the landlords, or the man who was taking care of the house and stuff, like how loving they were. Right? I was not knowing them. They so much supported me on my journey, so that you don't have really to rely on the people you know, because God is replacing them, kind of, or you never have to hold on to attachment, right? God is everywhere, like around you. That was kind of my experience that I was making. It was so beautiful that like as an inner child, I always loved to be with God, right? Also to play with myself. I never had a problem like to just have a blast with God, right? With board games or kind of imaginary friends kind of playing with me, and having this relationship. But really like that this is the foundation, right? To experience God on the outside, that you don't feel attached to others, and to also see and experience God in all other people. And yeah, I'm very grateful for this experience, and that it will just continue getting better and better and better. And of course, more and more people are choosing to love themselves, which is kind of the foundation that we are talking about in the teachings of union. And it sounds so easy, or it's so simple, right? Oh, I just have to love myself in a bubble bath and I will do this, right? But what is really behind that, and it's kind of what I'm learning right now, is speaking up for love. Is like speaking up like the truth. And I also experienced, or got aware more of wounds from childhood, where I was speaking the truth, like either they didn't believe me, or I got even punished for speaking the truth. And so to have compassion for myself and my healing there, and to learn it's safe, right? Like God is with you, and that's what God wants from you, to speak the truth, and that sets you free, and also the people around you, not being afraid that others get upset when you kind of like steer the waters, right? And pointing things out and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm healing right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I feel for me, what came up when you shared that is just that, sometimes when you want to help people, I don't remember in which course they share that. I think it's the Romance Attraction, where Jeff and Shaleia share that when you want to help people, sometimes not giving a lifeline is giving someone a lifeline. And that's ultimately what a boundary is. And I feel we are also learning that discipline is we get disciplined a lot, which is really great, right? And I'm feeling more and more comfortable in it and just relaxing into it, knowing like, hey, I've earned that discipline. Like someone is really loving me and seeing my potential here, and they can talk to me like that. So they really, help me change, help me make a right choice for me and not see it as an attack, but something that is really helpful for me. And I'm really grateful when people discipline me, because I always used to say like, please God, and if I'm in any way doing something wrong or dumb that I'm not seeing and I'm pretending I'm feeling good here, please just help me see and please discipline me if needed, right? Because I'm not here to, I don't know, fuck off and not do anything. I want to make a change. I want to be with you. And so I'm really learning that like discipline and boundaries is a really loving thing, and just extremely supportive. Like when someone sets a boundary on you and you heal from that, right? You heal what brings up for you. You will see that you will come to this place of gratitude and see like, wow, this person has been really loving me. And yeah, I feel like setting boundaries for myself is like still a thing. I'm like, wow. Kind of like, when you've never grown up, that it's okay to set a boundary. It's a tough thing. But yeah, that's a progress, right? And also experiencing the other side of being placed a boundary on or being disciplined is like, it's extremely loving, and trusting in that. And yeah, that is just what I wanted to add here.
Yeah, I feel like I had one more thing to add. So, what was coming up to my consciousness while you were sharing that was I was recently watching a Twin Flame Ascension School class, and Shaleia shared that like you can't fake peace, like a peaceful person, like someone can feel that and they know that. So yeah, so my point was also, so yeah, just that you can't fake peace. Like if you're peaceful, like it's known and people can notice it. And yeah, so you just protect that peace that you have and just extend it where you feel called to. And then another thing that I recall that Jeff shared was that like we're so used to doing this work that like sometimes we don't even realize like in the vibration that we're in, because we're just so used to it. Like it's kind of just our life. We just do the inner healing constantly. We just are with God. We feel good. We work through our feelings. We overcome our challenges, and we build a lot of strength and grit and courage and all that stuff. And we don't notice it. It's just our life. But like other people around us, like they do notice it. They can tell that there's something like a little different, even if it's very subtle. So yeah, I just feel like that kind of maybe speaks to everything that we were talking about, about having boundaries with like society or whatever. Because like yeah, people will catch on to that vibe, even if it's subconsciously or unconsciously, and then they'll try to like latch onto it and like take that for themselves. But like, that's not for them. Just like by being ourselves and extending that peace is how we love people, not by like leaking it away to like the world or whatever. So
Exactly. Yeah. It's really like loving to have that boundary up, but also might to learn only love is real, right? And going deeper with this phrase. And so attack is not real. And kind of course, the more you heal, you experience it, right? Also that it's easier to set boundaries, right? It's kind of like the first thing. And also like I completely resonated with Carmen when you shared about getting discipline, how much it also requires the other person to love themselves so that they can do that. Like I admire my coach for that, right? Sitting with me there and to point things out. And kind of when I would have to do that, right? Of course, like I'm getting better in it and how to express myself, but also it can feel uncomfortable, right? When you're also not used to that. And of course, just with somebody, who's open to it, but others also we also don't have to rely if others are open to it when it's really about standing up for yourself, right? Because others were also not asking you before, like if you're ready to receive kind of the bullying or whatever right, is going on. So it's safe to stand up for yourself. And yeah, just what's the easiest thing is to rely on the truth, right? That I love that one drop of truth dissolves all ego. For example, when somebody says to you, or something is not right with you, that you say, no, I'm divine like you, right? And so there's nothing to say against that, to just speak the truth. We are all children of God, right? And so that ego has no stand there, has no foundation in that. And how powerful it is to just speak the truth. Yeah, it's kind of, I just made a note. Yeah, that's what I kind of shared. Yeah, with how much somebody has to love themselves, to stand up for love. And I choose to love myself more and more, that I can do that and to bring the teachings to the world. And yeah, to the ones who are ready for, and I know it will be a lot. Yeah, like God has a plan, right? God is just like, yeah, doing it. And we just choose kind of to align right with love and to follow God and where He guides us to. And we are completely supported in that. It's also how you will feel like on your spiritual journey, right? There are so many like angels and kind of like spiritual guidance, so to speak, right around you and your twin flame union. Yeah, it's like what I also feel sharing that. Like with the quote, when God is on your side, nobody can be against you. And that's really true. Yeah. Does somebody else like has something on their heart to share to that too?
Well, just something that I noticed is what's been said is always, if you want to keep it, you must share it, right? And the purpose of having union or having the peace, having the love, having your healing is to share it. And I'm so grateful every time someone shares something about their success, because it's really encouraging to always hear that, and you can always resonate in one way or another. And if not, you're still so happy for them, right? And it feels so good to keep sharing that and keep showing up, because it does have an impact. And I notice, like, even if it's just the tiniest little thing you share, it can have, even if it just impacts one person and they're like happy about it or it inspires them, it's super meaningful. And I feel guided to also share ourselves more, and yeah, to really, see what an impact it has. And it feels good to share it, doesn't feel good to keep it, right? And yeah, I really love that. This is like, how can I say this? Like, it multiplies your joy even, right? What you have, it helps you to nourish and cherish that more. And oh, I guess that's really important.
So much love to see you both like together, so I can just share it from my end. And Manuela and twin flame too, right? And all the couples. And yeah, so keep doing that, right? And you having fun, having a blast together, like on the street, and the videos on Facebook, on YouTube. And yeah, just keep doing it. It's like your own humor, and it's so funny. Yeah, it's for all of us, right? And of course, no matter where you are on your journey, like never give up. Right? Just keep loving you for the next thing that comes up, and it might not have just an impact on you, but also on the people around you. So yeah, you sharing, and we all like our successes and how the work like helped us, how the teachings helped us. I feel that is making the impact, right? Like stories everybody is inspired by, and it's proven, right? We just see it for all of us, like our progress, and yeah, how fast it can happen, and it's just getting better. So how does everybody like feel like in general? Do you feel complete, or to the topic like change the world from within? Is there something else coming up? That you feel complete, Manuela, what do you feel you? Yeah. Okay, so I just at the end, yeah, want to wish everybody a beautiful start into the new year, like 2025. It's coming, And if you would like to share these teachings with others and feel passionate about it, to donate or tithe, please go to our website, unionism.org. You can also watch all the other sermons there and after church tea times too, and on YouTube. And so I wish you all a beautiful rest of the Sunday. Thank you for joining us and see you very soon. Take care and bye.